Hi, I'm Sam, and this is my video diary of my first week, quote unquote, week in gaming strategies and motivation. So, all of this week, well, really past week, I was racking my brain trying to think of some great kind of fun adventure because that's our big assignment this week is to create an adventure. And I couldn't come up with a thing. Like, okay, well, we have these two great books, the nice plain blue one that I took the cover off of about simulations and Virtual Leader, which I read first and turned out to really not be the most helpful thing for this assignment. And then the wonderful book by James Paul Gee, which I probably, in retrospect, should have read first, but I didn't realize that. He's got a lot of great ideas in here and explanations. So I did all of that before Sunday when I played D&D, and I still was clueless. Playing D&D was a lot of fun. It was very long, and we had some technical problems, but the Dramarians were victorious, and we left with plenty of gold. And it clicked. How to use dice, the kinds of challenges, and how everybody has to work together. And I thought, okay, so what do I do in my classroom? I use real-world problems, right? Because there's this whole revolution in mathematics that you have to use real-world problems so that you don't get the kids going, why do we have to learn this? I don't get it. What's the point? So we use real-world problems like Miss SamSharbonda has to buy a pizza and it costs this much to get the pizza and the toppings are 75 cents each. She only has $20. How much pizza can she buy? So we really do have a lot of opportunities for these real-world problems. And I was thinking, okay, role-playing in the real world. How does this work? And I'm like, I use the kids in my problems all the time, right? Like, Tucker was, selling lemonade this summer, blah, blah, blah. So it would make sense if I could have those kinds of situations. I have the kids, instead of just sitting at their desk like, Tucker was selling lemonade. He spent this much money on the lemons and this much money on the sugar. I could have them come up and act it out. Have them read the questions so they know what's going on, and then have them come up and give his interpretation of whatever the problem is about. I think that would be kinesthetic. It would get them out of their seat. They're involved because they get to put themselves into the place of this character using the math. And I just think that's one of the basic things about role-playing that I can think of. Okay, so the kid is now, they've acted it out and everybody understands what the problem is. Everybody works on the problem, we come up with a solution, and then that person who is acting it out could either accept or reject the equation or the inequality, kind of take responsibility for helping kids assess whether they're doing the problem right or wrong, and then try to work through that if there's misunderstandings. So in addition to that, I think that's what Mr. James Paul was writing about in his chapter on identity, which is as far as I've gotten yet. But he was talking about projective identity, where the kids project their identity, and having a kid pretend that they were an AT&T CEO, and okay, so you have your company. Well, what are you going to charge your customers? Charge for minutes or text messages on top of that. So it gets the kids thinking like, why are we paying for the things we pay for? What's the point? I mean, it is a business. They're trying to make money. So it gets them thinking about the math in a practical and personal way, because they're projecting that identity of a business owner, which is totally within their realm of capabilities. So the other really interesting thing that I thought I learned this week was definitely about playing D&D. I had no idea what the game was going to be about. I mean, I knew it was fantasy, but I didn't know how it was played. I didn't know we were going on an adventure. Okay, but what does that mean? So I was really actually pretty surprised by the amount of ad-libbing that our game master did. it didn't sound like he was reading off of a script, just as, we as the players weren't working off of a script. We didn't know what to say. We were just using our team working skills to accomplish goals. And he was so creative. So I really thought that was pretty neat. And I never realized how much creativity and imagination and ad-libbing goes on in these role-playing games. You don't really see that a lot in the video games. It seems like everything is kind of set up for you. And I can see, how video games sprung from the D&D culture. Well, that pretty much sums up what I've learned this week. I look forward to learning a little bit more about assessment and how I can use that in my games this coming week. This is Sam signing off. Thanks for listening. Bye.